Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Burgundy Zone. I am your host, Kyle, and I'm joined by my co-host, Michael Reed.
Yo, what is up?
Not much at all. This is the reaction pod to the 23-20 loss to the New York Giants. The Washington football team falls short yet again in similar fashion to the New York Giants. Reed, your immediate reaction. Are
They
you
just you
disheartened? How do you? What's your outlook with this game? Is this the end of this?
I, w-
We'd have to imagine, right? This is the end of the season.
I still don't think so. I think that this division is so bad that there's still a chance, but getting swept by the Giants really doesn't look too good. But at the same time, you can't. The reason that they lost is because once again they started off slow. They shot themselves in the foot
Right.
multiple times in the first half.
Multiple
They
times.
played
Penalties,
terrible in the first
turnovers.
half. But right, but the fact that they were still able to nearly win the game despite having four turnovers at that point, it ended up being five. But the fact that they could have tied or won the game with a +4 turnover differential, that's as long as they get some things ironed out. Remember, this is a young team. As long as they get some things ironed out, they can play some good football. They just need to get on a run and they need to start playing well. This is a pretty important game though, so it's I
Yeah,
don't know if I wouldn't say it's over, but it's getting they're against the ropes right now.
I was uplifted to see Morgan Moses rallying the troops around the sideline in the first half because they were
Yep.
playing horrendous. I mean, the Isaiah Wright muffed punt was just ridiculous. And the first play, offensive play, is a huge gain, but then it ends up being a fumble. I
Right.
was texting a couple people, and a couple people responded to me on Twitter, and I said it's just like the Monday Night Massacre against Philly, where everything just seems to be going wrong and nothing is going
Right.
right. And it's crazy that they were able to turn it around the second half. They were outscored 20-3 in the first half. In the second half, they roar back and score 17 and hold the Giants to 3. But they just could not
They,
get down the field in that fourth quarter. They just couldn't.
what is it? They've only allowed a total of 53 or 54 points this entire season in the second half.
Yeah.
This is a second half football team. So
It is.
it's I don't know, whatever they're doing at halftime in the locker room, they need to start doing that pregame because it's seems to be working going into the second half, but it was bad, but you did see some good things. Alex Smith is rusty. He didn't look
Yeah.
nearly as bad as he did against the Rams. I know he had 3 interceptions. Two of them were pretty bad.
Yeah.
The first one wasn't necessarily his fault. It was just an unfortunate play. But he also had some pretty good throws down the field, especially that one to Terry that Terry caught, and then a couple to Cam Sims that were just like, okay, all right, good. He still checked the ball down a lot, but remember, that game against the Rams didn't really count. He hasn't played in about 2 years still.
Right.
He's still got to get his feet under him. But now it's going to be interesting to see old number 7 back there as the backup quarterback dressed up every Sunday.
It just sucks because these interceptions that happened, they had momentum and they had the game going with
Yeah,
them and they had a chance to win. It's just why? Why does it have to end that way? Why can't we go down and score and win? And it sucks,
right.
because you see that they're capable of it. And we were talking, we didn't even think that they were capable of coming back, but they did. And
Yeah,
Hall,
right.
to Hall's credit, he always says it's one bad half, one good half, and they certainly showed
Yep.
that in this game in particular. But it's just like, my goodness, man, why can't
The,
you get that last little bit? Like you said, it was almost like a hex.
right. Yeah, it's literally like I said. I feel like Ron Rivera went to a witch doctor and was like, "What do I need to do for you to take my cancer away?" And the witch
Right.
doctor was like, "Give me your player's talent." And
Yeah.
Ron Rivera was like, "All right, I guess that's what's gonna happen."
And
He did it. Boom, cancer's gone.
and
And the witch doctor was a Giants fan. Give it to the Giants.
yeah, and
But
look, speaking of
it's
bad juju, because in November, around the same yard line that Alex Smith got injured on, Kyle Allen. As soon as I saw that, I was like, "That's a broken ankle. That's a dislocated ankle." It looked
yep.
terribly. And the
And
latest
then
that
when you
I
saw
saw,
it in slow motion from a different angle, ooh,
yeah. And then Ron Rivera just spoke with the reporters. I believe he is not going to get surgery. There was a dislocated ankle, but it was a minor fracture that doesn't require surgery, which is good news. And look,
wow, he got
as
lucky.
as bad as that sounds for Kyle Allen and everything, I was uplifted with Alex Smith because, like you said in that Rams game, it
Yeah,
was that offense was completely different. I just Alex Smith's one thing was not turning the football over, and it's crazy to me
right.
that it was just going willy nilly today. Like, that's not
It's
typical for Alex.
and two of the turnovers were just One of them was the J.D. McKissick falling down just at the wrong time, and Blake Martinez made a great smart play, veteran move. The next one was him just he had McKissick open, he just overthrew him. He threw it too high. It hit off McKissick's fingers, bounced in the air, got picked off by Jabril Peppers. The next one, the last one, he got baited by Logan Ryan. You don't expect Alex Smith to get baited like that.
Yeah.
But he didn't. That's just something that rust, it's going to happen. And with more game experience, I think that he'll get a little bit better. But he's still, you got to remember, he hasn't played in 2 years, and he is an older quarterback. And he was never a throw the ball downfield type of guy anyway.
Yeah.
But I just don't understand why we play the Giants so bad. Why Daniel Jones all of a sudden looks like he's Peyton Manning out there against us every single time we play him. Yeah. And it's unreal. They do have a smart game plan. I'm sorry, I'm going on a rant here, Kyle.
No, you're fine.
They do have a good game plan, it feels like, against our defensive line, where they completely neutralize our defensive line from the game. And that's they had something like 7 different players attempt to run today. Usually you have about 3 to 4 different players attempt to run. They had 7 different players. They got the running game going, and they did quick passes to not let our defensive line be able to penetrate the pocket. And that made our defense pin their ears back in the first half. And all of a sudden, they were able to do basically whatever they wanted with the defense. And our defense gave our offense some opportunities early. And once again, they just didn't. It didn't happen. And it's frustrating. But this is a young team. I think Rivera will eventually get it turned around. But this season, I don't know. I don't know what's going on, man.
Look, Terry McLaurin, 7 receptions, 115 yards and a touchdown. He just got the captain on his chest, and it was well deserved. Obviously, in this game, the guy is just incredible. I made a tweet during the game after that touchdown. I said, I want to kiss Terry McLaurin. I don't care who knows it. That guy is an absolute stud. He deserves all the credit that he is given. He really put the team on his back. Antonio Gibson, I know he had that fumble early on, which should not have happened. I know Logan Thomas was not trying to get the penalty where it was you can't be the first player to touch it after being out of bounds.
Right.
You could tell he was like, oh, can I touch it? Can I touch it? But, man, you saw, you want to be mad about this game, but at the same time, you feel better because you saw good from Alex Smith. But at the same time, the defense just – they have to be able to stop them at some point in the first half. I know that this is typical of Jack Del Rio's defenses where they give up a bunch in the first half, and the second half they really nip down, which is true because in this game they only gave up 3 in the second half. But goodness, they got to help them in the first half.
But the thing is, the defense in the beginning, they did help them. They did do very well. It's just when you're on the field constantly,
right? You're absolutely
that's when you get gassed, and it's the bend don't break. And the offense turning the ball over, going 3 and out, fumbling the ball away on their first possession after the Giants just had a long drive on their opening drive. Yeah. And then they think they finally get off the field, and Jarius Wright fumbles the punt, and then they're just getting gassed. And that's why you see them come out in the second half all fired up. But the opportunity is there for this team to go up early in the game, and they just haven't been able to take advantage of it. I don't know why they struggle so much with getting things going early on, but they do, and it's a real problem right now.
It really is because it puts them in a hole. And I talked about a pregame on the Drunkies this morning that I did not think that was going to happen again, but it certainly did rear its ugly head yet again against the Giants. And like you said, it's just an anomaly because look, Daniel Jones didn't have a great game by any means. 23 of 34, 212 yards and a touchdown. The Washington football team had 5 sacks on the day.
Turn the ball over like he does 50 times. Yeah. And that was good to see. I didn't notice, of course, there was a point when in the beginning of the game when I was out getting Dunkin' Donuts, but I looked at 3 different stat sheets and it said Chase Young had a sack. I didn't know Chase Young had a sack. I saw him almost get a sack, but
I think I remember him getting one. And then Wayne Gallman, 14 carries for 68 yards and a touchdown.
Alfred Morris?
I know, dude. There was a point then Hall made a comment that Alfred Morris is going to be the one that give us the death, isn't he? And he was absolutely right. It was looking that way, but the Washington football team just found a way to get themselves back in this game. Just like last time, they fell short, dude. It sucks. It absolutely sucks, but where do we go from here? Because now Alex Smith is starting against the Detroit Lions. Rivera just said that in his post-game conference today. And I'm going to tell you, I feel uplifted, not going to lie, I with Alex Smith because if I were to know that Alex Smith was going to start against the Detroit Lions based off how he played the Rams, I'd be petrified.
Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly. But knowing how he played today, and he's just 2 bad throws away from having a pretty decent game. I feel I feel okay with Alex Smith going into this week. You know, I think that if they are going to go on the run, he's the guy to kind of guide them on that run, and what a story that would be. I think he's already the NFL's comeback player of the year, but I don't know. Those were some pretty bad throws on those interceptions. Like that was just completely inexcusable for a player of his caliber.
Yeah.
So
And then a huge
I
shout
don't
out to
know.
Cam Sims. Cam Sims had a huge day. Three
Yes,
receptions,
yes,
110 yards, a 36.7 average. He stiffed armed somebody. That was an obvious huge play. That I want to feel so happy about this team, but we just lost. What do we do?
yeah, right. I know you can't. I guess you can try to take away some good from it if there is any good in getting swept by the Giants. Their only 2 wins of the season. On that drive that ended with the Cameron Curl sack on Daniel Jones. First of all, if that's against any other team, Daniel Jones fumbles that football, but of course
Yeah.
it's against us, so that doesn't happen.
Right.
But that defensive line dominated the end of that drive. The Giants shot themselves in the foot with a penalty or two, and then from that point on, that's when the defensive line was like, "All right, we're coming right at you, Daniel Jones." And then smart play by Jack Del Rio sending Cameron Curl completely unblocked on that blitz, and that ended up giving us the ball back with a chance, and they blew it. They completely blew it. But so you can take some good things away from it, I guess. But it's frustrating to see that it's the same thing every week. You just
Yeah.
get in a hole early. And I mean, of course, except for the Dallas game, you get in a hole early and you
Right.
can't come back. It's too much. It's too hard for a young team.
Yeah, and they keep continuing to do this, except for the Cowboys game. You're absolutely right. Now, this team, they've done a good job, I thought, especially because with Alex Smith, it seemed like they got into a rhythm. You know, as much as he was just dumping the football off, he was executing the football. They were getting down the field. J.D. McKissick had a
Yeah.
very good day, in my opinion. 9
Yep.
receptions for 65 yards. He did incredibly well, being able to pick up some crucial yardage on like second downs and third downs and whatever
Yes.
have you. I thought the team played well enough to win this game in the second half, but the way that they played in the first half was so bad and so poor that it was too much to overcome. And then the interceptions at the end seal the deal.
Yeah.
The crazy thing about this is that they had a chance to win, and they
That's
still shot
right.
themselves in the foot.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it's really crazy. If, like I said earlier, if you look at it, and you were to say that Washington has 4 turnovers to the New York's none,
Yeah,
Washington has a chance to win this game.
right.
Okay, and then of course they have the 5th turnover but you can't win with turning the ball over like that. And but I think you're right. J.D. McKissick had a great game. I think with Alex Smith going forward, he is going to be his best friend. We know Alex Smith loves to dump the ball off. Expect J.D. McKissick and Antonio Gibson to get a good amount of catches going forward.
Yeah, Alex Smith going 24 of 32, touchdown and 3 interceptions.
Really, just 2 bad passes,
Yeah.
2 terrible passes that just. Ugh.
And it just sucks, man, because I saw this one meme of a waiter putting a dish on a table for a couple, and it was the Washington football team handing the plate to to
Oh
the Giants
God,
fan.
yeah.
It's 100% true. That's exactly
True.
what happened.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, and that was the worst first half of football I think I've seen since the Jim Zorn era, or honestly, maybe
I thought it was the Monday Night Massacre. That was the last time I
yeah,
saw some play like that. That was the
like it
last
was
time.
just anything that could go wrong went wrong.
Yeah.
It was just your starting quarterback, of course, goes down. The fumble on the first play, the punt return fumble after your defense finally gets you the ball back, and then
Right.
you're not down by too much, and then penalties when you're inside the red zone just completely kill a drive, and it was just frustrating. But I did love the way they came out in the second half to start the second half and marched right down the field for a touchdown. Easy 6 plays, boom, they were in. And I was like, okay, somebody fired up that offense in the locker room. I'm sure it was Morgan,
Yeah,
but
they had no business having a chance to win this football game.
no, not at all.
With how many
That
turnovers they had, there's no reason they should have been
they had
fighting in this, but they were, and
they
that's
had
just like that's this
five
team.
turnovers and they lost by 3.
It's like
Five turnovers.
it's the microcosm of the season, really.
Right.
They put themselves in such a hole that they can't get out of it, and the crazy thing is they have a chance to do it. They
Yeah.
do. And that's the crazy thing because they give you that one feeling, that little vote of confidence to say that they can do it. And you want
Right.
to see them do it all 4 quarters like they did the Cowboys. And if they play that way all 4 quarters, they handedly beat the Giants, in my
Easily.
opinion.
Easily. Yeah. It's not even a question. I mean, what did they outscore them in the second half? 20-3?
17-3.
17-3? Yeah. I mean, Yeah, they dominated that second half. It was literally a tale of two halves, and it's just we played a lot worse on offense, or I'm sorry, all around in the
Yeah,
first half than the Giants did in the second half, and it's unfortunate. But I mean, that also goes to show you that the Giants aren't that good. Obviously, I mean, we
they're
knew
not.
that. We knew that, but
Yeah.
obviously they did. They've had our number. They've swept us the last 2 years, so
Well, yeah,
something ain't right.
I was watching pregame. I was watching this like ESPN scoreboard thing. It had like Ryan Clark and somebody else on there, and they were both saying like, "Well, the way the Giants play the Bucks, that's that they're gonna come out win against a Washington football team narrowly." And obviously they did end up, but like people are gonna say that about this game, but it's literally not true. Like the Washington football team should have won this game, like
Right.
without a freaking doubt in my mind, and that's the worst part about it. They continue to do this. They continue just to piss away wins. But hey man,
Yeah,
hey, good for
that's
Alex Smith though. The dude really
yeah.
impressed today.
Yeah, he did. Like I said, aside from two throws, I think that he played fantastic football. And this is going to be something that I think that this in the second half of games is really what we have potential to do, and that's without having the most talent that we could have, without having the best team that
Right.
we could have. So I think as the year goes on and next season, especially if we get somebody under center that we feel confident in, and maybe even a new offensive coordinator, who knows? I think that this team will be a lot better. It's a process, and it is going to take a little bit, but you do see some flashes of what this team can be. And they the one thing I will say about this team is they don't give up.
They
They don't
don't.
quit.
They don't.
So that's a very good thing. That's
It
a
is.
sign of a Ron Rivera led team, and that's I guess one good takeaway.
Yeah, and I'm really intrigued to see how they come out against Detroit now because
Yeah.
they shouldn't be happy with themselves. They shouldn't be content like I'm almost feeling in a way, but it you're so pissed off in that first half, and then like I literally sat outside of my deck because I went out and took the dogs out real fast, and I look in and I see Terry running down the field, and I'm screaming Terry go 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 go, and so from there on out I was like, all right, I'm gonna stay out here, and I had to stay out there and watch them lose this football game, and they could have easily had it there, Mike, and it sucks.
Yeah.
It really does.
Yeah, definitely. But I mean,
It's something to
that's what
build on
happens.
because they have. I think that's the biggest takeaway from them. They could
But
have easily won it.
yeah, something a pretty surprising stat was teams coming off of a short week against teams coming off of a bye week, and it was the teams that were coming off of the short week were won 8 of the 9 games or something, which was like
Mm-hmm.
super surprising. Now, of course, it's 9 out of the last 10. So that's something that nobody really expected. You'd expect the bye team to come out fresh legs, they're ready to go, but that hasn't been the case so far.
No, it has
So
not. No, it has not.
I mean, with the short week team winning 90% of the time, that's pretty impressive.
Yeah, and I like the way that you're going about this because you're using it as a building block, and I'm right there with you. As much
I
as
have to because if I
yeah,
don't,
as much as I am emotional right now because they could have easily won this and they should have. You know, you're
yeah,
absolutely right because
right.
this is a buildable moment. You guys had it in your hands, and this is why turnovers are so crucial in the game of football, especially in divisional games like this that are every inch matters, right?
Yeah, literally, and I think that that's hopefully something they can get turned around and maybe come out and perform better in the first half. But that's something that we've literally been saying all season.
Yeah,
So, I mean, it
absolutely.
happened one week, and that was against the worst defense in the NFL.
Yes. All right, everybody. Well, we'll catch you guys on Tuesday. We'll have a overall view of the NFL. In depth, we'll talk about this game. We'll have some press conference, some injury updates for you guys. Washington football team falls to 2-6, down to the bottom of the division. New York Giants sitting at 2-7. Washington football team looking to play the Detroit Lions this weekend in a big game. In a big game, is Matthew Stafford going to play? That's going to be a big question mark. Cause
Yeah,
he got benched in that game. Not benched, but he
he was on the COVID list, I know, but then he was
yeah.
taken off before this week. Did he play today?
Yeah, he played, and then I think
Okay,
they were getting beat so badly that they took him out and put Chase Daniel in.
yeah,
I saw that notification.
that's okay.
That's
Well,
going to
that
be a
makes sense.
storyline for this week. All right,
Bro,
everybody. We'll see you on Tuesday. I'm Kyle.
I'm Mike. That's the
Eh,
first time I've ever done it normal.
Right, and we'll see you guys on Tuesday. Washington football. Woo!
Audio Jungle.